Hello and a very warm welcome to Passion Vista Podcast, the platform where we celebrate extraordinary individuals who lead with heart, create with vision, and transform the world through their passion. I'm your host Neetu Singh Marva, and today we are joined by a woman who is redefining how we understand money, leadership, and responsibility. Tetyana Kohansal, an actuary, entrepreneur, and financial educator. Tetyana's journey spans continents and disciplines from a moving across countries at a young age to building a career in financial mathematics, consulting, and entrepreneurship. As the co founder of KS Actuaries, she works at the highest levels of financial strategy and risk analysis. But what truly sets her apart in her mission beyond numbers, making financial knowledge accessible, practical, and meaningful for everyday life. Through initiatives like Teen Finance Lab, she's empowering the next generation with something many of us never learned. Growing up, how money really works. In this episode, we explore a powerful and often overlooked idea. Financial literacy is not just a skill, it's a life foundation. Welcome to Passion Vista Podcast. And today we have a very special guest, Tetyana Kohansal. Welcome, Tetyana, to Passion Vista Podcast. How are you doing today?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very good. How are you? Thank you.
Very well, Tetyana. We're very glad to welcome you today. And how's the weather? We would like to start. How's the weather going there?
Perfect. It's a very sunny morning in Vienna today, and it looks very like a nice start of the day. What about you?
Oh, wonderful. We are here in India, in Gujarat, and it's very pleasant and summery weather. Very nice.
Perfect.
Oh, wonderful. So, Tetyana, as we all are aware that you have a great expertise into actuary, you're an entrepreneur, you're a financial educator. So, we would like to begin with the beautiful set of questions that we have for you. So, you moved across countries and built a career in such a complex field called finance. What first drew you towards understanding the money and financial system so deeply?
Yes, I actually grew up in Ukraine in the 90s. It was a very difficult time back then because it's when the Soviet Union fell apart. And still the mentality of people was very old. No one talked about finance, about money in the families. Everyone was equal in the times of Soviet Union. So my parents never talked to me about money questions. And it was even a shame to be rich. So we had a lot of prejudice, a lot of stereotypes when we were raised up as kids. And then everything started when I was a teenager myself. And that's when I decided to make an exchange year in the United States. I won a program, and when I was 15, I moved there for 1 year. And I saw a completely different world where teens at schools had business classes, financial classes. We were doing small projects in groups. We were analyzing businesses. We were watching pitches of startups, analyzing them. We even did our own business plans and invested with virtual money. We had competitions, fairs, and it opened my eyes because I saw a completely different mentality. And I thought, why are we not learning this in our schools in Europe? Why don't we do practical things? That's what at the moment I decided I want to go deeper into this field. I want to learn it. I want to understand how is business made, and I want to teach others because our school systems are so old, and people are learning algebra, they are learning numbers, they're learning arithmetics, but they don't learn how to implement it practically so that they can benefit from it and build something. That's when everything started. And then when I came back to Ukraine, I decided I want to go abroad again and study it from another perspective. And that was when I moved to Vienna when I was 17 to study mathematics and finance. And from that moment on, I was building my career in this field. I was creating businesses. I was creating blogs to teach others to understand finance, to implement it in a daily life.
That's really, inspiring because it's so important for today's generation. And with the era of AI, as we are changing every single time, education of old textbooks has to change, which I completely agree. And it's very inspiring that at a very early age, years back, you actually decided to, pursue your finance education. That's really inspiring. So, you have worked inside highly technical areas of finance, yet you also focus on making money simple for everyday people. So, at what time did you realize that financial knowledge is actually missing for most people?
So I will continue the story from the moment I moved to Vienna to pursue my education in mathematical finance and quantitative finance later. I was in this field deeply because I was surrounded by people who work in finance, who are very good with numbers, who understand it. But yet I saw that these people, even though they are they have this high expertise, sometimes they lack this practical knowledge for themselves of how to use this money in a daily life. And it was not because of the lack of financial thinking, but the lack of practical thinking. So they were knowing a lot in theory, but they were not using it for, I don't know, just simple things like budgeting or investing some small amounts of money on a daily basis. They were not building something and implemented it in their businesses. And that was the moment I thought, okay, education is not enough. We also have to practice. And 4 years ago, I opened a company in the actuarial business. And I started talking to a lot of people in banking, insurance, and I noticed it even more. People in their 40s, 50s, they start thinking about their pension, of how much money they will have when they will not work anymore, that late. It actually should start very early, when we are kids. Because there is a research that shows that a lot of money habits are formed by the age of 7. Not when we are 40 or 50 or 60, but 7. Because we observe how our parents are talking to us about money, what habits they have, and this is when the core is formed. So this lack of knowledge that continues in our life is formed very early in life. And that's when I realized we don't have to educate adults, we have to start early educating kids. And apart from my business in actuarial field, I also started something very important. We started a teen finance lab. It's a platform. It's an online course for teenagers to learn financial literacy, where we make courses, where we make workshops, coachings, where kids can learn about businesses, about entrepreneurship, about investing, all that to make possible for them to make these financial mistakes early, not when they are 20, 30 or 40, when it's real money, but when it's like still very safe.
That's really wonderful because I completely agree. Teens today are, I think, in our era where you and we were born, we were very much, goal oriented because we were very much forced, or we were having a mindset that we have to become something, we have to have our own. Insights, and we were very clear. But nowadays teens, I feel that they're somewhere goalless, and it's job of us and parents to build a system into them so that they at a very early age start pursuing this as a part of their education. So do you think that schools should also implement this as a subject, or this as a part of their training or extracurricular activities?
Exactly. I think it's a must. And for example, Austria is trying to do this. They have this initiative on the governmental level where they implement financial literacy in schools as a necessary subject. It's still an ongoing process. It takes time, but the Minister of Education is trying to do his best, and we are, with our initiative, also supporting this governmental reform. So we are trying to also, with our workshops, to raise awareness in schools and for parents, for teachers, for kids themselves, that it's important. There are also countries in Europe, at least, who already implemented this, like Finland, but a lot of countries in the world are still lacking this. And my mission, I think, is a very global one. I want to approach as many families as possible. That's why we are doing it in English as well, to make it accessible online, with online courses, with online challenges, with online coaching, so that everyone has access to this. And there are so many other programs. But I think in this new era, as you said, of raising AI, influencers, YouTube, and everything happening so fast, kids are sometimes lacking this structure. And they see a lot of things moving and this action, but they lack consistency. They lack some plan that they have to stick to. Someone who becomes their mentor in this field and shows them the path to building these skills in financial field. And that's what we are trying to do with our structural workshops.
Wonderful. That's really amazing. So, what do you think that the workshops that you're conducting, how can like the viewers or anybody who wants to pursue the course, how can they get in touch with you? And if you could elaborate a little more about the structure, that will be really helpful for our viewers to understand it better. And I think they'll be more approachable to you in the amazing mission that you're doing, and it will be great help for them.
Thank you very much. Yes, we have a website. It's called teenfinancelab.eu. We have Instagram profile, TikTok profile. We are trying to be on social media everywhere where the kids are and their parents are. The program itself is a 1 month course with guides, with short videos and challenges. We have different topics like budgeting, saving, investing, where kids also really invest their virtual money themselves. So they try the hands-on experience. They just with the virtual money. They have a business workshop where they are learning what a startup is, how to write a business and finance plan for a startup, how to pitch it, because it's important also for any business owner to present their ideas to others, to investors, to customers. We also give personalized coaching with me and my husband, because he is very much in the startup field and I'm more with a financial background, helping kids to understand finances from the mathematical perspective. So it's a very structural course. We also have a topic of digital safety, because as I said, in the era of AI and raising scams online, it's important for kids to understand how to be safe, especially with money. So this is a structural program. As I said, it's very interactive for kids to stay on, because they need like small challenges, small games, and we try to make it very playful.
That's amazing. So, kids of what age can be a part of this course?
So this is for teenagers, I would say from 10. Sometimes kids have interest earlier, like 8, 9, up to 15, 16. It's very, very broad. It very depends on the child.
That's amazing. So now coming to the topic on finance again, what are some common money mistakes people make simply because they were never taught better about the money?
I think number one mistake is a very short-term thinking. People, as I said, raising AI, raising influencers, online content, people think very short-term. They want to have profits right now. They think about money as some kind of a trend where it can where they can jump on something and make profit out of it, like right now, but they don't think long term. And I think financial wealth and financial success is always long term, because consistency and a structure always beats the trends. And if someone starts thinking about regular type of investments, keeping the plan, going with a structure, it will always be more successful than the profits someone makes right now. This is number one mistake. Number two mistake is no structure, because people nowadays, they see these things, that things, they see some trends, as I said, and they invest here or there, some cryptocurrencies, some businesses pop up every day, and they think it's a good opportunity. But this is not a structure. A structure is always like a long-term plan where you stick to it and do investments regularly for your future. And I think if someone tries to pursue this way of building like long-term wealth, they have to build this structure at the very beginning and then try and make the first step. And this is the mistake number 3, is being afraid and not being brave enough to make this first step, because being financially literate is always a learning process, and you cannot become financially literate like this in 1 second. You have to learn by doing, and making mistakes in the process also is very important. Agreed. Because this is how you understand.
Agreed.
Better.
Absolutely agreed. Wonderful. So a lot of people think building wealth is only for a certain group of people with high income or privilege. From your experience, what actually builds wealth, income, and mindset for financial decisions?
It's a wrong stereotype, thinking that building wealth is only for privileged people. You can build wealth also with small amounts. As I said, consistency is much important than trends or being rich and investing all the money at once. Just give you an example. When I got my son, he was born 1.5 years ago. And we decided to open an investment account for him. So every month we invest some kind of money for him in funds, in stocks, ETFs, in different kinds of investment instruments. And we will do it hopefully until he will be 18 and he will be independent. And I've calculated how much money he can get out of this just by us investing some small amounts every month. And this will be enough for him to, start a business or pay for education in a very good university if he wants to go somewhere, or put in a down payment for an apartment. So this is a big sum, but if you think about it, it's just small amounts every month that me and my husband are paying for him now. And everyone can do this. As I said, time always beats the trends, and long term is always better. So over like 20, 25, 30 years, everyone can become a millionaire just by doing it regularly.
So do you think that market plays an important role here? Because a lot of times when the market scenario is going up, people are happy, but then as the market crashes or as the market goes down, it's a time where people panic. A lot of people sell off. A lot of people do not understand what to do in this case. So do you think that still at the same moment when the market is down or crashed, what should one do at that time?
Of course, the market moves in waves. It goes up and down all the time. There is a crisis like almost every 10 years. But as I said, consistency is much more important. And even though sometimes the market goes down, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to buy the dip, to invest even more in those times, because when the market is deep, you can even profit much more when it goes up again. And what most people do is they panic, as you said, they sell everything they have because they think it will go down even more. But if we look at the historical data, it always goes up again. So either you just wait this moment and be patient, which is also very important in building wealth, being patient and thinking long term, as I said, or taking the opportunity and buy even more in those moments. And because people are very emotional, because they have the fear of missing out, they think in groups they do what a public does. That's why they panic. But it's much more important to think the whole process and to think long term.
Yes, I completely agree with you. So, what, as per you, are 2, 3 simple financial habits that anyone listening today can start to improve their relationship with money, and consistently they can invest in these particular areas and they'll be actually getting a good benefit?
Yes. First of all, the good financial habit is know your numbers. I still meet a lot of people who even work in finance and still don't know how much money they spend on this, how much money they spend on groceries, on taxes. So they don't do like a simple budgeting plan for their families. So you have to keep track of everything you earn and you spend, because this is how you see how much free money you have to start building the wealth. Also, pay yourself first. Each amount of money you earn, you need to take some money out of this and pay yourself first. So it doesn't matter what happens, you have to have this small amount that you will put on an investment. And of course, think long term. How many times did I say this today? And as I said, like everyone can become a millionaire if we just make a continual process and stick to the plan. About the trends where one can invest nowadays, of course, AI is a boom in the last years, and it will become a boom in the next year. So if one wants to profit quickly, maybe it's a good area. Also, everything's connected to energy, data analysis, everything that also supports AI. There, for example, in Europe, the big trend in the last years was defense tech, because in the world we live now, where wars are happening every other year, some people would say it's not sustainable, but I think that times already changed and it's too late to think about it. It's already happening, and we have to take opportunity out of it. We have to invest in things that also keep us safe. Of course, different markets in the world, like in the last 20 years, it was good to invest in the US, but the times are changing. I think the emerging markets are also coming. Look at some specific countries that are booming right now. For example, India is a great market. I think it will be very profitable in the next decades. African countries, which are also very innovative right now. South America. So look at these countries that sometimes bring more risk, but at the same time can give you more profit as well.
Yes, absolutely agreed. So, looking at the bigger picture, as you mentioned, do you think the next generation will be more financially aware than others, or are we still repeating the same patterns? What is your opinion?
I think it will be just different, because our generation didn't have access to this amount of information on the internet. With AI, you can ask a question right now and get an answer in seconds, right? We didn't have that. We had to learn from books, from talking to someone, from teachers, from experiences we had in offline life. And nowadays it's very accessible for kids, but at the same time it's very unstructured, so there is too much noise. And I think it's very important to have the real structure on how to process this information, so people for sure will get more access in information about finance online, but it doesn't mean they will become more financially literate, because they always need a guidance, someone who will help them to practically implement this knowledge in their daily life. Because as I said, you can pursue a degree in finance but still be financially literate with your own money. So I think there still be a very big advantage of offline things like real life experiences where you can practice and implement something with this knowledge you learn from the internet. It will be just a shift, I think.
Yes, I agree with you on this. And what advice would you like to give to parents, those who want to start with their children in financial literacy at an early age? How should they actually begin, and with what amount of money? I mean, because it's money, and they have to make the children aware. Uh, what amount of money do you think they should start giving, and they should start teaching them investment? What should be the beginning of their era, or what is your opinion in that?
I think first, advice for parents who want to raise financially literate kids is talking to your kids on a daily basis about simple things like how much money you spend on groceries, how much money you spend on rent, or how much money you actually earn. Like a simple conversation at the dinner table is the very first step every parent has to do on this way of financial literacy for their kids. Because as I said, I was raised in the family that never talked about money to me, and this confusion, this fear was also growing with me. And when I became a teenager, it was already in my mindset, in my habits, that no one talked about this to me, and I had to figure it out by myself. But if the parents talk to their kids about these things, they learn from them, okay, this is our budget, this is how much they spend on these things, this is how much they spend on these things. And there is often a case when parents are blaming kids that they want too much, too many toys, they want money on snacks, on some things that are not necessary. But the problem is that they're not explaining to them that this is our budget, and if they want something extra, they have to put it in on the budget. And when someone says it's too expensive, and things say, why is it expensive? You are spending money or, I don't know, cosmetics or going to the movies, and why don't you buy me a toy? Why is it expensive? But they don't understand the budget in terms of relationships. Okay, maybe it's not expensive in terms of value, but it's expensive because it doesn't fit in our budget right now. So they have to explain the core values that lay in this understanding. And number two things is giving kids experiences. So not just talking, but also giving them small amount that they can practice with. For example, going to the supermarket and giving them, I don't know, $5-10 and telling them, okay, this is your budget right now. You have to choose what you want and stick to this budget. That's how they understand the prices and the values of products. And of course, for example, daily conversations when you go to work and meet your colleagues, also explain to kids what it has in terms of money. So these are 3 simple rules. And also for smaller kids, it's also important to see physical objects itself, because nowadays money is very digital. We swipe cards, pay everything online, and they don't see it physically. They think money is virtual. It's something we as a family have, but they don't understand how much. So seeing like real coins, sometimes jars, or maybe writing down the notes about the prices and their values. So something they can relate to and see that money is here and how much it is actually in touching and seeing it. Yes, these are 4 simple advices I would give to parents. And once we stick to this plan, it will develop, because when kids grow up, they develop even more curiosity about how the businesses work. For example, in our workshops, we also give kids as I said, the simple task of creating a business idea, and on top come different other skills like understanding the marketing, how to sell the product, how can you actually earn money by, I don't know, helping others in your community, for example, walking a dog for a neighbor, or just selling some unnecessary things you have online, or making some online products and selling them. So there are so many opportunities that kids don't know about, but that's a very easy way of how can they earn money. So there are so many opportunities of how kids can earn money that they don't know about. We just have to show them, and show them that they have to be brave enough to make this first step.
Yes. So on this, I have a very curious question, as I am also a mother of two teens coming in my brain, that if we want to begin with a small amount of pocket money, so that they distribute, they do their own expense, they invest, also, they categorize their money into different sections, and how to save, how to work for an NGO, so that you should also do some donations. So what do you think is the right amount and right percentage kids can distribute, and where should kids practically invest as per them?
Okay, so it very much depends on the country. The amount kids receive in Austria is not the same they receive in India. You can check the statistics online about what is an appropriate amount to give a teen of this and that age in India. But for example, in Austria, it's normally, I would say, $20 per week, depending also if they for example, buy snacks at school or is it included. But it's not important how much money you give, but more important how they distribute this money, as you said.
Yes,
because the best way is always to lead in a tracker, or doing it online. There are so many apps and credit cards, for example, that already have these functions where you can distribute the money you receive into different blocks, different jars. For example, this money goes to saving for something, this one goes to an investment account, and this one is for fun, where they can use on the daily basis. And they have to write it down, I think, because, as I said, physical visualization is sometimes lacking in our digital world. So they have to see it, or at least in the app, see the distribution. And saving in general is often not working for kids because it's very abstract. But if you save for something they want, it's a different thing, because they have to have a goal they want to achieve, and not something just very abstract. And also, as a parent, I think it's very important to support your child, and not support in terms of you have to do this, but support in every step they are doing. So every time they put a small amount in the jar or send it to a saving account online, you have to give them this feeling of, okay, you did a very good job in this tiny step. That's what gives them the feeling, I can do this, I can achieve it.
That's really inspiring. I think that's a takeaway for all the parents as a tip, that how to educate your children financially and how to make them more financially powerful. So while we are ending the session and we are very close to our last question, what is one financial concept you believe every teenager should understand before stepping into the real world?
I think it's critical thinking, because everyone can learn the numbers, everyone can learn budgeting, everyone can learn how to invest money, but not everyone can learn how to think about things critically. And this is very, very, very important skill later in the life when someone wants to build a business, because building a business is a set of different skills. You have to learn sales, marketing, you have to learn finance, you have to learn how to structure it. But you can learn all of these things, but critical thinking is formed early in life by experiences that surround us, by seeing how our parents do this, by seeing how our friends do this. And the earlier we make mistakes, the better it will be in the future, because we already learned this in the young years. And of course, not everyone will become a businessman, not everyone will build a startup. But even as an employee at some company, critical thinking is very important, because creative jobs are creative because someone brings this critical thinking into them. So not just doing things that are supposed to be done normally, but bringing something more special into it. And as I said, this entrepreneurship spirit is, for me, a task number one in teaching kids about finance. Because, as I said, numbers are just numbers, but how you use them is will define what path in life will you take. And it doesn't matter which path you'll take, if you bring this creativity into this that you learned as a kid, will also define your success.
Wonderful. You have explained everything so amazingly, Tetyana. I am so grateful that you joined us today at Passion Vista Podcast. And I'm very sure that a lot of viewers will be getting a lot of insights for not only themselves, but also for their young children, how to, invest, how to make financially independent children, and how to make money as a power tool than to be scared of it.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Neetu, for invitation. I hope I could inspire some parents, some families, and I wish everyone a productive journey in this educational story. And I hope your kids will become very successful in anything they do, and you as parents will support them.
Thank you so much for joining us today at Passion Vista Podcast. That was really a great, knowledgeable podcast with Tetyana Kohansal. I'm sure you all would have loved it, and you will have a lot of content and experiences that you can take away and share it with your teenagers and your children at a very early stage. Thank you for joining us, Tetyana, today. It was really wonderful having you at Passion Vista Podcast. And as we are very close to the ending, I would really appreciate if you could share one mantra or one final or something to the viewers, or especially to the teenagers, as a message.
As I said, be brave, be consistent, make this first step yourself in building the wealth you want, and also help your children in making this first step towards their successful financial future.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. It was absolutely amazing podcast, and may God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Neetu. Have a nice day.
Tetyana, your journey is a powerful reminder that financial knowledge is not just about numbers, it's about empowerment, confidence, and the ability to make better life decisions. What stands out most is your mission to make finance accessible not just for businesses but for families, young people, and future generations. To our listeners, perhaps the biggest takeaway from today's conversation is understanding money is not optional, it's essential. And the earlier we begin, the stronger our future becomes. Whether you are just starting your journey or rethinking your relationship with money, remember, every small step toward awareness creates long term impact. This is your host Neetu Singh Marwa signing off from Passion Vista Podcast, where every story is a spark and every journey is a path to purpose. Until next time, keep questioning, keep growing, and keep living your life. Stay tuned at Passion Vista Podcast.